The next top story is your master's degree useless? Question mark. This is from The Economist. What's that name? Dilialala Pan?
I call him Den, but yeah.
Yeah, Den 46 comments. 700 stats. Number 3, top story of the week.
Something like that. Yeah. So this is a story from The Economist about the uselessness of getting a master's degree. And it just kind of cites all the research on it. Basically, if you're going after a master's degree for financial gain, especially if it's not in like a more engineering science field, you're likely not going to see a return on your investment. You might actually get a negative investment return. A little less true of women, though, actually, in the data.
So what are you saying? Like only women who have master's degrees get hired?
Like if you look at this chart here, the women are the pink. And so, yeah, when they get this is a comparison relative to a bachelor's degree. And so if you people who get advanced degrees in languages, men, they have a 30%, they make 30% less than someone who got a bachelor's degree in languages. And then women, they make about 10% less. And I think it's because there's like confounders here where women who get advanced degrees usually put in more hours, usually are maybe starting families a little later, is like part of what's showing up in this data.
What's the technology one showing right there? What's that one, Keyan?
I would guess that's probably...
It's a big difference.
I would guess that might be engineering generally.
Oh, this is in Britain, it looks like.
Yeah, they said the data is a lot better in the UK, although the data, I mean, it's roughly similar in the United States. I mean, most people's advice for going to college has always been like, study what you love, do it because you want to do it. And I think this stuff, it really matters though when you're thinking about when you're only pursuing a degree for financial reasons. Like I wouldn't mind getting a master's degree in math or maybe another degree in computer science. I would, regardless of the return, I would just love to learn that much more. Yeah. But if you don't want to learn, if you're like, don't want to learn it, you're just doing it to get money, clearly it's not paying off. And I think it's just, part of it is it's become really, the job market has been saturated with people with advanced degrees already.
There's a part of me that wants to go back and get like a business degree of a sort. Because I feel like it could shortcut a lot of things for me.
Yeah, I mean, it could, but then on the other hand, there's probably no better business school than starting one.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Pleb Dev?
Yeah, I mean, I only went to college for 2 months, and
look how you turned out.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I was like already deranged about the school system. I had like dropped out of high school, and I came back around, got my GED, and was like, I'm going to go to college to learn computer science because I want to learn how to build on Bitcoin, and I'm going to need to know the foundations of computer science. This is the way. And I just like, that narrative got destroyed in like 1 semester. It took like 1 semester of college for me to realize like, okay, this is a lie. These people are trying to distract me. I was actually on my own the whole way along. And the idea that these people would help me work in Bitcoin was just like a narrative that I believed. But that's not true about everything, right? It's just like engineering and tech. But in general, because the field is flooded with advanced degrees, I think the way to compete is to be different and to stand out amongst those people, and like extreme people get extreme results, you know? Yeah. Try and like go break some big software in the world. Go hack some software. Go I don't know, make something crazy that no one else does. Or actually, best thing you can do, go make something and then get 1 user at least.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing to stand out on like applications, is like, I made something and I got users. And so there's still those ways to stand out, and a lot of them aren't credentialed. So yeah, non-credentialed ways to stand out. I think that's kind of the signal.
Good stuff. Looks
Absolutely.
like Real Bitcoin Dog said, my master's counted as 2 years of experience at my fiat job to get me promoted faster. Yes, I know, very fiat, but I think worth the ROI. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, some of these, they have like these co-op degrees, oftentimes in outside of the United States, where you like get a master's degree and half of it is working. I don't really get it. It's kind of.
I think this day and age, you definitely need more people learning faster, and I think you just have to have. I think especially it's probably was always true. I just never noticed it when I was younger, but definitely feel at this point, like if you're a young kid, either if you're going to school or not, like you need to have a love of learning, especially these days, because the world is moving really fast. But
yeah, and you'll move faster outside of school. Just think how much school slows you down. It's like if you actually figure out something good to do, like, oh, I need to go build, I don't know. If you want to be an accountant or a business person, like what's the thing that you would do to stand out and get you that next level? If you're in school, that's just going to be a big waste of time. But if you can spend all your time,
I think if you go to and Jim has talked about that. I think if you go to like a prestigious school, that could really shorten your track as far as like getting to where you want to be. So there's something to be said about like getting into that networking culture and then leveraging that for what you want to do in life. So
it's not just that. I mean, and the teacher is a paid mentor. So like most people step out of school, away from school, and they don't have a mentor at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that I think that's the real thing that you miss not being in school. I think there's also like you learn things that you would not choose to learn in school, but are very helpful about that are around you. Obviously, there are things you absolutely don't want to learn, and you know that in advance, but you still get taught them in school in some cases if you don't have much control. But it varies a lot. I think you entered school at a different time than I did, and from what I've heard, it was maybe not as good.
Oh, yeah, I'm like the worst person to ask.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
Completely and totally biased.
I love school. I love school.
Go ahead, Jim.
So I agree with you guys were saying. I was just listening to the Meat Mafia podcast, and those guys are pretty high signal in my opinion. They're kind of they're orange pilled, but they were at the Bitcoin.
Yeah, shout out
Brett Ender and Harry. I don't know
Harry. Yeah, I know Harry.
But Brett was saying that he went to a prestigious business school, and pretty much like 99% of his peers all went into corporate America, and it just teaches you how to be a good cog. So he learned by doing same thing you were saying. I pretty much agree with this. I think everyone should check out the School Sucks podcast because they pretty much get into the history of school and why it's so fucked up. Those guys are free staters, and they talk about how schooling is basically invented by the Prussians, who later became the Nazis, and taught people how to be good slaves, good soldiers, run into gunfire, and be good workers. So I think pretty much everything you guys have been saying is on point, but there's like historical reasons. That said, I agree with Keyan. Like, it's good to get breath and just go outside your comfort zone and discover different stuff. That's kind of the Steve Jobs side of the coin, where it's like you don't know what you're going to be interested in or what's going to come into play later.
Calligraphy.
He took a calligraphy class that totally changed his mindset. And I've had similar experiences with, like, I studied Chinese in college. That has nothing to do with what I do now, but I now do stuff with language models, and that relates. And then I studied like matrix algebra, which I never thought I'd need, and then I ended up needing it. So
there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of, but to Austin's point, you can learn that on your outside of school. You can be really good at self-educating. Some people just do so much better in that context, and they can introduce the randomness in the breath. Yeah. Austin himself is a great example of that. Like I didn't really enjoy going to class very much, but I did love being told this is useful to know, and then going and learning it. So I think it varies, but kind of interesting view.
If you could go back now, would you go back to school if you could and like do it all over again? What would you have studied for? Would you do the same thing? Would you study the same thing?
I like kind of what I'm doing. So I mean, if it's like this day and age.
No, not this day and age. If you could go back to
the exact same time,
would you have studied the exact same thing?
I think I liked my education a lot. I liked the result of it, both financially and otherwise.
I wouldn't have changed a thing. The only mistake I ever made is like when I was 12 and 13, I was curious about programming, and I thought I was too stupid. Because everyone told me I was stupid, and I was stupid. So it's like I could have been totally cracked right now.
Yeah,
instead of club dev, could have been like 10x dev.
Crack dev.
Maybe I'll let you too.
Oh wait, Ted's
Okay.
gonna come in.
As a master's educated person here,
Wow.
engineering,
Take my hat
physics,
off
and then
just
design
out of respect.
masters.
Wait, engineering physics?
Yeah, I would go back and I wouldn't do any of that again. Not even the question. I would probably what I would do is I would still try I'll try harder when I was younger to get into Ivies, and then I would try to get in because you get the sort of selection threshold, which does help.
Certification.
So Ted was playing the
And
game.
then
You were
I
playing the
would
game,
go-
Ted.
Then I would go to campus, and I might even like live on campus for the first year, but just not go to any classes or like pay for
Wow.
any classes.
Be a super social dude.
Yeah, don't take anything. Don't pay because you don't want to pay the admission. You just want to like get because it's such like a good environment, you know, of having all those people around and just leech.
If
Basically,
you go to an Ivy, like there's a total like caste system of Ivies. People don't talk about this, but like Harvard and Princeton and like Yale, like you're not going to be able to do what you just said. At Brown, you can definitely do what you just said. Like Cornell, if you go to the ag school, you could probably do what you just said and just network your ass off. But or get somebody else to do your work. I don't know how that would work.
Good stuff, guys. This is